Good morning. I'll wait a few minutes to get everybody who's up on here. Hope you guys are doing good this morning. I get to talk about setting income goals that are effective. So let me just wait just a few minutes until the early birds hop on. How's everybody doing? Let's see if I can find a way to see my comments left. All right, when you guys are on, give me something, if you're able to, give me something in the comments. Oh, hey Vanessa, I'm gonna have to just look over here on my computer for your comments because my phone never shows them. Good morning. Good morning, you guys. Hey you guys. Okay, so before we dive in, I hope that you saw what I uploaded in the file section last night. It's just a very simple tracker. It looks kind of like this. It says Reach for the Stars on the top, just because that was the name of our group that Lindsay, and Katie and I hosted a little while ago. And so you might hear me refer to this. So in case you missed my post about that, then it's in the file section for you. So I am happy that this works for you, because I thought to myself, let's do an early morning one, just because maybe there's some people that that's the best time for them, and honestly that's the best time for me right now. So I figured let's try it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop in to my content, because this is probably only gonna be about 15 to 20 minutes long. So let me start with introducing myself. My name is Brittany LeGette Chamard, and I am a 15-star diamond. I've been a coach for 4 years now, since this past January. And I want to make sure everybody can hear me okay, because I can't see the comments on my phone, so that's why I'm looking to my left. So I'll assume you can hear me okay, unless I see somebody say, no, I can't hear you. Okay, so I became a coach 4 years ago, and my story, as far as how the Lord led me into coaching, was basically through Facebook. I stumbled across my coach Lindsay Matway's wedding pictures from our wedding photographer's Facebook page. So talk about random and divine all at the same time. So that's how I stumbled across all of this. So you know, they posted a picture of Lindsay and Billy, and I went to her page to congratulate her. I had just restarted for the third time my P90X that I bought from an infomercial a few years prior. I just restarted that. It was like, you know, first week of January. That was my goal, to sort of conquer that, because I kept quitting it, you know. So I was working as a nurse, and more I was feeling guilty about the lifestyle I was leading, at the same time educating people on wellness and myself. I really just wasn't proud of the lifestyle that I was living. So anyways, I restarted P90X, my dusty P90X copy from an infomercial. And one night I was on Facebook checking whatever, and I saw this picture of Lindsay and Billy. I went to her page to say congratulate her, to comment on it. And right there on her page was her P90X transformation, so, or progress. And so I think it was transformation, I can't remember, but either way, it was proof the product worked. And so that it was the encouragement that I needed, right? So I'm, you know, it was my third attempt at P90X, and so I was a weekend, and so you know how that goes. Like at the end of the first week, you're like, somebody help me stay motivated. So that was what I needed to stay motivated. And so all of those things combined gave me the courage as an introvert to reach out to her and just to say, hey, congratulations, but also I just wanted to tell you that this really encouraged me, because I'm doing P90X. I had no clue about coaching. I had no clue about challenge groups. It was just me reaching out as a human being, saying this was really inspiring to me. And so little did I know she was a coach. She invited me to a challenge group. I conquered P90X, which did more for me on the inside than it maybe on the outside. It did a lot on the outside, but it gave me that confidence that I needed, that I didn't have to quit, right? So I didn't have to keep quitting something hard or something that I started. And so that kind of catapulted me into my journey again as a coach, because I am a military spouse. And so I did my research, and I figured out that I could save some money on my Shakeology. And so I became a coach within, I think it was like a week or two of the challenge group, because my date is January 14th. So it's probably first week of the challenge group for New Year's. So I became a discount coach, and a discount coach for like an hour. The more I read, the more I saw that I could help people and earn an income. At this point we were living in San Diego, and so my husband was in a training program there, and I literally never saw him. I was working 12-hour shifts, and then he was working 23-hour shifts. And so I was just like passing him. I just never saw him. And so that sort of pattern, that cycle that we were in, really started to make me think about other options for us. Like, what else could I possibly do to be home more with my family, my future family, my newborn. But I still wanted to contribute to my family. I still wanted to contribute financially to the household. At that point, it wasn't about Lauren, my husband Lauren leaving the military. It was really just about choice for my family, me being home. When my husband deployed, I knew I didn't want to work a traditional nursing schedule with my kids. So I knew that for myself. So anyway, all those things combined really led me to research coaching and to see that this was truly an avenue not only to help people and make a substantial impact in the lives of other people, but it can make an incredible impact in your family's life, especially financially. And so I knew that I had to put the work in. I knew that it was going to depend on my own tenacity, my own resiliency, and my own level of willingness to figure it out. And so I'm going to talk about resourcefulness a little bit today, because I think that I always tell my coaches that I think that's the secret vital behavior that led to my success, is being resourceful. And you heard Morgan share, you heard Lindsay share, and you're gonna kind of hear a lot of duplication or a lot of overlap, which I loved. But I want to tell you a little bit more. I want to talk a little bit more practically about what I have done and what I continue to do in order to set these effective income goals. So again, I know we have to say this disclaimer a million times, and it's sort of a no-brainer, but you're not going to everyone knows, I think, at this point, but you're not going to just stumble into Beachbody and stumble across $1,000 a week paycheck. You can be put in the best spot in anyone's downline in the whole network, and if you don't do anything, it doesn't do anything for you. And so your income success is going to depend on your willingness to work. Melanie Mitro at one point said this wording, so I can't claim it, but it has always stuck with me. My level of success is because of the level of support that I'm willing to give my challengers and my coaches. And so you got to know that full out. If you're dreaming big for your family and income is a part of that, you've got to know that you're going to have to put the work in. And you've heard some coaches reference Craig Holliday in this training, and Craig Holliday also reminds us that in this business structure, we work a lot for a little in the beginning. And I promise you, you're not the only one. I promise you, I did that. I promise you, Lindsay Matway did that. Bonnie did that. Brigida did that. Scotty did that. All of us did that. You work a lot in the beginning, and it feels like a total ripoff when you get that paycheck. And you're like, what? This does not add up. But the beauty of this structure is you work a lot in the beginning for a little, but then eventually you work a little for a lot. And that doesn't mean we're all just like sitting by the pool saying, good luck, everybody. But it means you don't have to pump the well that hard to get the same result. For instance, I bet, and I'm putting words in her mouth, but I bet Morgan might say, the content that she's developed over the years and put on social media is beginning to attract people to her network. And that would be the same for me. In the beginning, it is a lot of individual inviting, and I still individually invite, but I'm just saying that it's not as, the effort that you put in for the same result is not as gruesome. And so know that if you're in that season in your business where you're just working really, really hard and you're not seeing that income, you're not seeing that paycheck that you expected, just know that that's normal. As long as your behaviors are aligned into the business building activities, it's usually that component that's missing is the component of time. And so as long as you are, and that's why I'm going to sort of talk about these resources, because as long as we are aligning our behaviors with what has been laid out for us pretty simply, actually, if you're doing those things, and you are willing to give it time and to stick with it, be resourceful, figure it out, you're going to build a strong organization. And remember, the level of support that you're willing to give your challengers and your team is going to become reflective of the level of income that you earn in this business. So, okay, so for me, it took me, I looked back, I was listening to everybody's trainings, and I looked back for myself, and it took me about 3 months to earn $500 a week consistently. And so a large part of that was retail, but then my team did begin to build and duplicate what I would consider earlier on. And so attracting those business builders was something that was huge for me, because it gave me friends and people to mentor, to share my experience with, and we did it together. And so for me, I would consider myself a faster grower in the beginning, and it was because I had a strong why. And so my husband was gone all the time. 3 months for me was, it was like 2.5 months before I became a full-time Beachbody coach, when I switched from full-time nursing to full-time coaching. And my fuel was that I knew I needed, my husband and I set a benchmark of what I needed to earn weekly, income-wise, in order to come home and build this business full-time. And so that was what was really fueling me. So I was incredibly motivated. It was time sensitive, because the longer I took, the less I saw my husband. And I was ready. I was just in a place in my life where I was ready to make that happen. And so I was a sponge, an absolute sponge. And you can go back on my Facebook page. I intentionally didn't delete anything from those days of coaching, because you can see that I wasn't the best inviter. I wasn't the best at graphics. But what I was proof the product worked, and I put myself out of my comfort zone and I invited. And so I gotta say, those two things for your vital behaviors, you've got to be ready to do that, because that's gonna make the most impact in your business. Okay, so let me get down to business here. Does anybody, and I wanna look over and hopefully see some comments, but let me play this. Does anybody have a specific income goal that you can share? I'd love for you to share what your first income goal is as a Beachbody coach. Do you have a specific number sort of in your brain? So I kind of want to see, we've got about 50 people on the call right now, so I want to see what your income goals are. Okay, so keep typing them out as you're comfortable. So Morgan taught us how to break down our income, right? So she taught you how to read your paycheck, how to make sense of all those numbers. And Lindsay Stay taught us all about volume, team cycle bonuses, what that looks like, how many on this leg, how many on that leg. She gave you a great idea of where to shoot. So I see a lot of $500 a week, $1,000 a week. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, I'm so excited for you guys. Okay, so we've got a lot of $500s and $1,000 a month. Awesome. Okay, so keep typing them out, because I love to see sort of where we're at, and I can provide some more resources after the call when I come back into the group. Okay, so biggest mistake I see my coaches make is, well, one, quit. The other one is I get on a GSR call with them, and they're super, super excited, and they're ready, and they know that this is important to them, and they're excited. They're a little nervous, of course, and kind of overwhelmed, but they're excited. And then a week later, it's like, where did they go? It's like they had all these goals. I have these goals written down for them. They stopped showing up. They stopped doing their workout. Consistency and belief are the most important non-tangibles that you can do that's going to affect your income, that you can control. Belief in yourself, consistency. So none of us here hosting this call have been here for 6 months. We've all been here for years now. Okay, so that's how this compounds. You guys, Morgan and Lindsay were sharing some numbers on their calls, and I was like, I'm just curious. Let me go back and look at my numbers and see. When Morgan was showing her paycheck progression, it could have been mine. It's so similar. And so I see all your income goals. That's awesome. Keep them coming if you're on the call. It's so interesting that we all start off so minimum compared to our work. Our commission is the retail commission is the main bulk of our paycheck. And then I also looked, Lindsay Stay was talking about numbers, who, by the way, that was an awesome video. She always teases herself that she's not really great at details or volume, but every time I hear her talk about volume, I'm like, that's the one I want to share with my team. So props to you, Lindsay. Okay, so she was talking about how 6,000 volume, and if you haven't watched those videos, you guys, you got to go watch those videos, because that's your homework. That's how you're going to be able to digest all of this and truly set specific goals. So put a note on your phone, an alarm, to really go back and watch those videos if you haven't yet. Okay, so Lindsay Stay was talking about building up to 6,000 volume on a week leg, and she went back and she looked at her business and saw how many contributing business centers that was. And she said, I think hers was like 25 or 27 or 23. Mine was 25, so it was almost exactly the same. And so now last month, so that was month 7. So for me, in month 7 of coaching, we had 25 business centers contributing to our volume as a team. I looked at last week, which was about month 50, there's 541 business centers in that same, when I checked that same first CBC. So you can see that growth is truly responsible for the growth in income. So it's not about me selling more. It's not about me being in perfect shape. I just had a baby. So I just, you know, I've essentially built this business with a large emphasis on team culture, integrity, and duplication. Those are the most important things to me. And so I want to show you the tools that I believe that you can use now. These weren't available when we were all new coaches, but they're available now, and they're incredibly helpful, and it's a no-brainer. And so I saw some of you that said, good morning, Ash. I saw some of you said that you have a goal of reaching $1,000 a month. And so I hope that you guys know about these resources, but if you don't, now you know. So leadership ladder, and you might be like, oh my gosh, so boring, but it's the truth. This is how you make sure that you are setting effective business goals. Okay, so goals where you're actually going to reach them. Okay, so duplication is going to be responsible, is going to be the culprit for a growing paycheck, unless you become the biggest retailer in all the land, which good for you if you are, but most of us are not, and most of us don't want to be, and that's good. I would much rather earn an income based on my coaches earning more income. To me, that's like awesome. Like, yeah, I'm gonna sell challenge packs and get my challengers hooked up with great products to get their results. Of course, it's one of the most important things that we do. But as far as earning money, I would rather see that growth, because it's so much more exponential. That growth and that matching bonus that Morgan was teaching you about, that is huge, because not only are you earning income, but you know that your coaches are earning income. They're contributing to their family's dreams. And so anyway, I could go on about a million years on that. So, okay, so I want you to know about the leadership ladder. And so if you're a really new coach, or if you're a new emerald, or you're a new diamond, or whatever, or you're a new star diamond, or you're me, it's important to know what this leadership ladder is all about. And so I guess I'll just shoot for the middle two that I think are sort of middle of the road. So team builder and team leader. So if you don't know what this is all about, you got to do your research. Hey, Sarah. It's in your back office. So all you got to do is click on that tab that where your Success Club points are housed. You just click on the Leadership Ladder tab. And there's a little hyperlink that says click here to learn more, and you'll get this PDF. So you'll learn all about it. I've done a training about it, which is public on my YouTube channel. I did a training at Leadership 2 years ago about this. So there's lots and lots of training available if you want to learn more. But it's pretty self-explanatory. It's color-coded, so it makes it real easy. And so team builders and team leaders. Okay, so let's go with team builders. Team builders want to earn $250 a month. Okay, so that means they're earning Success Club 5, they're Emerald or higher, they have 2 of their own coaches putting Success Club points on the board, just merely reflecting that they're actively helping new people get plugged in with product. Okay, that's what that means. And then 200 team volume per month on their week leg. Okay, so most of you will probably already be there or have surpassed that. So most of us, I'm guessing, are going to be shooting for team leader and above. And so that's going to be $1,000 a month. Success Club 5, diamond or above. So that's where rank is. It does matter. Rank, it's not like rank doesn't matter. Rank does matter because, and this is just my opinion, but I believe rank and income do go together. Because the more that you develop and mentor new leaders, the more volume that gets created, because then they are passing that on to their coaches. So the time that I invest in the people who are showing up with me is so well spent, because, well, one, because they show up and they're loyal, and it's fun to do this life and this work with people who are so like-minded. But that effort and that energy that you're putting towards that person in mentorship or in friendship or accountability, it pays off, because they in turn turn around and do that to their coaches, and then they do that to their coaches. So not only does that create a really healthy team culture and team vibe, which is fun to be a part of, in my opinion, but it also creates duplication and productivity and volume and knowing how to do this business. And so my advice to you is, no matter if you have one coach or 150 coaches, figure out a way to mentor. Because even if you're not the most well-spoken or you can't articulate your thoughts that well, your mentorship is crucial, because that's going to duplicate. That's going to encourage, and it's going to speak to the ones, like Lindsay Stay was saying, speak to the ones who are there to soak it up, your people. When you find your people, those are the people that you got to just invest in, okay? So anyway, I could go off on all these things for a million years, but leadership ladder, I want you to figure it out. Where on the leadership ladder do you need to shoot to challenge yourself, one, and to get closer to your income goal? So if anybody knows, go ahead and type it in the comments. What are you shooting for in the month of March? What leadership ladder rung? Team builder, team leader, organizational leader, executive leader, or business starter is the first one. We all have to start somewhere. So these are great, because Beachbody created this resource so that we weren't all just saying, yeah, I want to be a diamond coach. Because oftentimes what would happen is coaches would build to diamond for the awesome recognition, which is really important, but their downline wasn't productive. Maybe they were building with just a bunch of friends or a bunch of discount coaches. And so, yeah, they were a diamond coach, but they were earning less than like an emerald coach, or maybe even an active coach who's a great retailer. So, okay, a lot of team leaders. Okay, that's kind of what I thought, that the majority would be team leaders. Okay, so in order to eliminate that sort of disconnect between rank and income, they've created this leadership ladder. And so the leadership ladder breaks down very specific activities that are going to lead to more income, because it's leading to more productivity in your organization. So I really want you to use this in line with when you're setting goals for how many people you want to help, Success Club points, how many coaches you want to help. I want you to always be looking at this every single month and say, okay, what's the next rung that I need to get to? Ladder, step, rung. And what do I need to do in order to create that result? And so that's where a tracker comes in. Okay, so let me repeat that. If you're going, a lot of you are going for team leader, which is awesome. You're going for business starter, that's also awesome. I see some organizational leaders, that's amazing. Okay, so let's talk about team leader, because it looked, when I glanced over, it looked like the majority of us who are on the call are shooting for team leader. So you need to earn, you need to achieve all of these things in the team leader category. $1,000 a month, Success Club 5 or above, Diamond or above. 4 of your personally sponsored coaches need to have 1 or more Success Club points on the board, and then that's it. Okay, so we've got a list of the things that we need to check off in order to become team leader. So my advice to you is look at these things, okay, and look at where you need to improve. What are the behaviors that are going to earn Success Club 5? What are the behaviors that are going to ensure that you are diamond or above? What are the behaviors that are going to help make sure that your personally sponsored coaches are helping new people and putting points on the board? Once you've identified those behaviors, and they're very simple, things like, let me give you an example. Success Club 5, for example. That would be, in my opinion, the activities that are going to get you to Success Club 5 are the vital ones. But in particular, being proof that the products work, sharing that publicly, and inviting boldly to your challenge groups. Okay, so that's going to get you to Success Club. So if it were me, I would jot those 3 things down and make sure they were on my tracker. Okay, diamond or above. So we're talking about rank. So we're talking about the business opportunity. Maybe you are going to host some sort of information group that's going to give people more details about what it's like to be a coach, or what it means to be a coach. Maybe you're simply going to share your story of why you're a coach often, once or twice a week on your social media platforms. Maybe you're going to just boldly make a list of the people that you really want on your team, and have genuine conversations with them of why you want them on your team, why you believe they'd be a great coach. These are the activities that I believe will get you to these results. And so when you've grouped your activities, make a tracker out of it. Just make a tracker. And it doesn't have to be fancy, color-coded. You can grab a Sharpie and a legal pad and just make a box, a bunch of boxes that you can check off Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday, whatever your work hours are. But this tracking is so crucial, you guys, because this is the tracker. Again, if you weren't on the beginning of the call, this is in the files that I put on there. Lindsay, and Katie and I made this tracker for a group that we did for our coaches that were striving for multiple star diamond ranks. And so I love this tracker the most because I believe it has the information that is most crucial in income growth. So it covers our vital behaviors, which nobody skips. Not even a 15-star diamond skips the vital behaviors. It covers your Success Club points, because you've got to be leading from the front, you guys. Success Club is absolutely non-negotiable for any leader or anyone who's wanting to build a substantial income. So Success Club is that marker that is ensuring that you're helping new people, and that's as simple as it is. And so this tracker also tracks your volume, which I think is important, so that you can learn the trends of your organization, how many emeralds that you have on your legs, how many coaches that your team is adding to the whole team family, and then it breaks down your income as well, so you learn to understand where your income is coming from. So if you don't like this tracker, that's totally fine. I just shared it just because it's been helpful for me. But as far as leadership ladder goes, I would just really, really strongly suggest that you figure out what are the activities that you need to do in order to reach the leadership ladder rung that you want, and create a tracker out of it, or just create some sort of tracking system. The vitals are a no-brainer. They have to go on there for everybody. But then what about like maybe some specific things, like for instance, for the category where you're talking about personally sponsored coaches earning Success Club, maybe it's something that you can do as their leader. Maybe you can track them, and every time somebody helps a new person and earns a new Success Club point or two, you celebrate them publicly, or in a team page, or send them a text message, or whatever it might be. My friend and awesome coach Ashley Brockington, who's on this call, she does really fun dance videos whenever there's a awesome rank advancement in her team. So put your personality on it, be you, but figure out how to bring more attention to what you want to keep happening in your organization, because whatever we recognize gets repeated. Okay, so I'm gathering my thoughts here to make sure I didn't forget anything, but setting effective goals for income, goals that are actually going to turn into something, are based on your action. And so it's so important that you have that belief. It's so important that you've made the decision to be consistent. But the most important thing is that you have the action to back it up. So set effective goals. Set these goals. Set the high goals. Set the big goals for sure. Set the ones that are scary. But make sure you're following that up with an action plan. And so I know that sounds so boring, but the truth is, we win the battle with the monotony, the daily things that just need to be done every single day. Specifically with tracking, what I see a lot of people do is they track. If you're a newer coach, I would suggest making this tracker a little more specific, because what I see a lot of coaches do, specifically new coaches, is they skip the most important behavior because they think they're doing it. They skip inviting. And so they're not actually inviting. They're not actually saying, hey, would you like to join me in my next fitness challenge group? It starts in 3 weeks, or whatever it is. So have something to invite to, and actually invite. Track those invites. And so I think belief is going to be something that you've got to create on your own. And if you don't have that belief in yourself, I was telling a couple coaches the other day, if you don't have that belief in yourself yet, that's okay. Don't get down on yourself. If you don't have the confidence that you can make this business anything that you want, the lid is non-existent. There is no lid. There is no cap. There is no ceiling. And if you don't have that belief yet, you've got to borrow that belief from other people. You really do. So if you don't have that belief yet, you've got to be the one that says, you know what? I don't have that belief yet. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I have the personality to make this work. If you have all these limiting beliefs in your head and you don't have that strong belief in yourself, you've got to borrow belief from other people. So what do I mean by that? You've got to show up on your team calls if they're hosted and be surrounded by people who are confident in this business. Hop on, different leaders' YouTube channels and hear them speak confidently about what they're doing, about what we're doing. And the only reason we're confident, you guys, is because we have stuck it out. We've pumped that well so hard that we've begun to see results. And as soon as you start to see results, you will have that same belief. You just have to figure out that interim period where you guys are doing a lot of work for not a lot of income, and there's this weird gap that you have to blindly believe, not blindly, but for yourself, you have to say, okay, I'm going to have faith in this. I'm going to believe what my sponsor says. I'm going to believe in myself the way my sponsor believes in me, my friend, my coach. And I'm just going to do it. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other, and I'm going to obediently just do these vital behaviors and see what happens. And I guarantee if you're doing the behaviors, if you're tracking it so you can look and say, yeah, I'm actually doing these behaviors, you're going to see result. And the more result you see, the more belief you have. The more belief you have, the more you have action. And so it all sort of compounds together. And so setting these effective goals, it's really important that you know your resources. So that's the first thing. Know your resources. Tap into them. The second thing is you've got to have belief. If you don't have belief in yourself, that you're going to stay the course, that you're going to be steadfast, and that you're going to be consistent, you got to borrow that belief from somebody else or another source, whether it be team calls or Zoom calls or someone's YouTube channel or whatever. So know your resources, have that belief, and then track your action. Track your action so that you can go to your sponsor and say, hey sponsor, hey coach, hey friend, my goal is to earn $1,000 a month. I'm earning $50 a month. This is my tracker for the last 2 weeks. Do you have any insight? You guys, if somebody did that to me, I'd be like, oh, amazing. Because otherwise, your sponsor, and I'm going to cut this short in just a second. I'm going to be done in like 1 minute. Without a tracker, your sponsor is giving you advice based on what they think they see. And they might be super close to accurate, but we don't know what's going on in those conversations that you're having. We don't know what's going on in your home gym. Are you really getting, or your living room or whatever. We don't know what's going on in your meal plan. We don't know what's going on in your brain, So are you doing personal development? Are you, really doing your workout? Are you sharing on social media? Are your conversations going well? Are you having the conversations? Are you adding new contacts? All of those things. What does your volume look like? Like Lindsay Stay was saying, if you don't know what your volume looks like, you're missing the boat. You got to own your business. You got to know what your volume looks like. And so I promise you the familiarity, is that how you say it? It comes with more time and more exposure to these numbers and these words, but you've got to dive in and you got to just start. So track, and then if you're not getting the result or you just need to check in with your sponsor, track and say to your sponsor, hey sponsor, here's my tracker for the last 2 weeks. I wanted to give this to you before our call. That way they can look at this and they can say, wow, you are doing awesome X, Y, and Z. But have you ever thought of doing this? Or have you ever considered doing this instead? Or more of that? Or less of that? It gives us some ammo. It gives us some actual tools to share with you instead of just saying, oh yeah, looks pretty good, looks okay, So for me, when I started setting income goals, it was based on my family's need for me to come home. So for me, it was $300 a week. That's what I needed to earn in order to put in my notice at the hospital. So figure out for your family, and I don't know, you might not even want to be a full-time Beachbody coach. You might love your career. That's awesome. But figure out what your starting block is. Where is your starting point? What do you want to earn first? And so a lot of you said $500 a week. Some of you said $1,000 a month. And so once you've earned once you figure out what you want to earn, then you just got to break that down. And you can use the tools that Morgan shared in her video about looking at that commission and saying, okay, if I want to earn $500 a week, what does that break down to? How many people do I need to help in challenge groups with challenge packs? And then how about my matching bonus? How can I help my Emerald Coaches Earning Success Club or whatever it is? And so you can break that down, and the more you break it down, the more tangible it is, and it's not just some elusive big goal. It comes down to numbers. It comes down to volume, and it comes down to eventually to your duplication of leadership with your rank, because that's how our business structure is set up. And so here I am, enjoying life to the fullest. Not that things are perfect, but I am 100% present for my newborn son, and I would do this, all the hard work, I would do it all over again 10 times, maybe even 100 times. It's completely worth it to be home, for me to be home, to be earning what I'm earning, because of the level of support that I'm offering my challengers and my coaches. It's incredibly fulfilling, and I want that for you. I want you to figure out, what do I want for my family? What does that number look like for us for long-term planning, or for, you know, blessing other families or friends or ourselves, or whatever it might be. Figure out what that number is and believe that that's possible for you. Is it possible in a month? No, it's not. It's not possible in a month. It's not. It's not. It's not, it's not, it's not. It's possible in a year. It's possible in 2 years. It's possible in 3 years, in 4 years. It's possible. So, you know, be on the stick it out club, you know, and we're going to stick it out. We're going to figure this out no matter what ups and downs come. We're going to set goals. We're going to track. We're going to use the resources that are at our fingertips. You know, use your tracker and ask your sponsor. Communicate with your sponsor. Hey, I could use a little help in this area, but here is my tracker, so that you have some actual information so that you can give me advice. If anybody has any questions, I'm here for like 1 more minute. But that's my advice. That is my not super attractive or shiny advice, because that's what's worked for me. Using the resources that are at my fingertips and tracking my business so that I can be my own CEO and say to myself, Brittany, you are slacking on the invites. Brittany, you are slacking on the shareable content, whatever it might be, whatever it is that you're tracking. Be your own CEO. Track, use your resources, climb that leadership ladder, because that leadership ladder is going to really help point you in the direction of not just a rank achievement, but a business achievement, an organizational growth, which is what we all want. We all want lots of successful coaches that are helping a lot of people get successful results in our challenge groups. So I love you all. If you need help with belief as well, I wanted to say this. If you need help with belief, write out your positive affirmation statements. I tore mine out because I had one right here. I am a coach that attracts business builders into my business. I am a coach that skillfully onboards my new coaches. I am a coach who genuinely cares about my challengers, and they feel that in my groups. I am a coach who, whatever the thing is, write it out and say them to yourself every single day. Look at it before your work hours and read those out to yourself, so that you are in a healthy mindset to help people, because you're so capable. The income is not for the so-and-sos of the world or the such and suches of the world. It's for you if you're willing to work for it. If you're willing to help people to that level, the income's for you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hopping on. Again, if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask. I'll be back in this group later on this afternoon. What is the leadership forum called? Oh, so this, are you talking about this, Grace? If you're talking about this leadership ladder, it's in your back office. You can either type in the FAQ leadership ladder and you'll get a bunch of information, or right where your successful points are housed, there's a little tab that says leadership ladder. Click on that, and on the very bottom of that little box, it says click here for more info. You can click that little hyperlink, and that's where it is. Okay, thank you guys so much for hopping on, early birds. I hope you have a great Monday. Get on that national wake-up call, catch up on all these videos, and then Scotty's gonna be going live at 4:15 later today. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for hopping on with me, and we will see you in the group.